Hello, everyone. This is Karen from Myth and Gears, and we're back for another session of Black Sails and Dark Skies. This is episode 10 called Stitch in Time. And before we begin, I will throw this out to my players and let them introduce themselves, their channels, and anything else they'd like to plug. We will start with Dave.
Howdy, folks. My name is Dave, and today I'm going to be playing Ephraim Archibald Ulysses Delaney. And yeah, I'm happy to get back with these fine folks. Finer than frog hair, I might say, but just being silly. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see if we can catch the captain, Mr. Copperhead, and see what we can work out here. So, all right, that's Dave.
Next, we have Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. I am Jeremy. I am trying out this smart green screen thing here on Zoom. So forgive me if I look like a 1980s music video. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's called the Erasmus Expeditions. I do live plays. I have some other videos about crafting and talking about RPGs and things like that. Go check it out. I am also 1/3 of the Dudes of Yore podcast, which can also be found on YouTube, which happens sometimes. Hopefully we can get a new episode going at some point soon. But yeah, I am stepping back into the shoes, the boots, if you will, of Captain Fisk. Bronson Fisk, he's kind of a stuffy shirted, he's uncertain of his new position, but he's trying to do the best he can with however many first mates he might end up with. We'll have to see.
Next, we have Baron.
Hello, everyone. I'm Baron. I run the YouTube channel RWD Gaming. That will be coming back as of October 30th from a long hiatus for the summer. Tonight, I am stepping back into the shoes of Charlatan Charlie, who, you know what? I don't know. Happy to be here.
Last but not least, we have Megan.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, where we do live plays and sometimes other stuff if we feel like it. And tonight I will be reprising my role of Nicola King, first mate. Excited.
I am glad to have everybody back. Unfortunately, we are short one player. Jason could not make it tonight, but we will play on without him. And Jeremy, you keep disappearing on me. This is going to boom, and he's gone. So hopefully next time Jason will be back with us and we'll continue on with him in the story. But for today, he is not here. With that, we are going to start session 10. We open up in what looks to be a hospital room. A solitary bed in the middle of a stark, white, almost empty room. On the bed is a young girl. Her head has bandaged, as well as her arms. Well, one arm anyway. The other one glints as if it was metal. Sitting on the edge of the bed is an older man, and he is reaching out and kind of caressing the tiny little wisps of hair that are showing through the bandage. The girl's eyes flutter open. Nicola, you see your father above you. What are you thinking in this moment?
The burning that has been ever present since she came to the hospital is still there, still ever present. It racks through her entire body. Even the hand that is not there, actually most of all, the arm that is not there seems to burn the loudest, to hurt the most. But when she sees her father for an instant, all that pain, it subsides, even for a few minutes. And though she is so weak, she lifts her arm, her good arm, bandaged, wrapped, weakly up at her father. She tries to say something, but she can't speak. No words come out.
There, dear. You just rest. It seems you will beat this one. You are lucky. And he reaches over to a little side table where there's a bowl, and he pulls out from the bowl a piece of cloth that is drenched with water. He wrings it out, and he places this cool cloth against your burning forehead. You're through the most of it, my dear. I'm afraid you will be here sometime. And I don't know how to tell you this, but we had to take your arm. And with that, he touches your metal arm. I'm sorry, but it was that or lose you, and we weren't going to do that. But I have given you a new one. And he will carefully and very gently lift it up so that you can see what he is talking about.
And she looks at it. The tears are welling up in her eyes. She looks at the arm for a while, and the arm does not move, save for maybe a twitch of the finger. And she looks down at her other good arm. She manages to croak out, "Can I keep my other arm?"
The infection has not spread. You should be able to keep that arm. We did what we could. We just took what we needed to. In time, this new arm will be a part of you again. You will learn to use it like you did your old one. And he places it gently back on the bed. Nicola, I know this is not what you wanted for yourself. But I couldn't just not do anything. And then he reaches down on the floor beside the bed. You're not sure what he's doing. And when he comes back up, in his hand, he has a small teddy bear that also has a mechanical arm, just like the one that you have, almost down to the detail. I made you this as well. And he places it by your good hand.
She would take it and hold the bear, first its good arm, and ever so slowly she would move her hand over and her fingertips briefly caress this metal arm. Just like me.
It's as precious as you are. Let it be the reminder that even though we're not whole, we're still beautiful. And he once again caresses, your face. And let him remind you of me. Because I need to go away again.
No, Papa, please, I need you here.
I am so sorry. I do not want to go, but I must.
You see Nicola's head turn as much as she can away from her father's face. Tears, silent tears, streaming down her face. She clutches the bear closer.
The good sisters here will take care of you until I can return. And with that, he gets up from the bed and he turns to go. But as he's partway to the door, he turns back and comes back to your bedside. I forgot. Your arm is special. Once you have had a chance to use it, I'm sure a part of it, you will question why it is there. You will see no need for it, but trust me, there is great need. And in time, it will become apparent why it is there. Now I must go. And he turns to leave again.
Wait. And Nicola takes a small necklace from her neck, the only thing that the nurses allowed her to keep on her, the only thing not absolutely covered in bandages. And she is struggling to get it off with only one bandaged hand. But finally, I think she gets it off. She holds it out. Take this so I know you'll come back.
Nicola, I can't, that was your mother's.
So then you'll have to come back and give it back to me.
And you can see in his eyes how he doesn't want to take it from you. But he looks into your eyes and realizes that he needs to, for your sake. And so he reaches out and he takes the necklace.
Remember, you're just borrowing it.
I will return it to you. And with that, he opens the door, leaves, closes it behind him. And what you do not see, Nicola, as he leaves this hospital, is that there are a group of soldiers waiting for him. And they escort him into a carriage, some sort of heavily barred metal contraption. And they ride away with him. With that, we now return to a scene almost its entire opposite of the one we just saw. This one, chaos reigns supreme. There are bodies strewn everywhere, smoke, debris. Where it used to be silent in that room, this room is filled with the screams of wounded, of gunshots, of people yelling. There's a woman slumped in the corner, keening and holding the stump of what used to be her arm. Tables are busted. It looks like there had been some sort of an explosion in this room. And we see Verda Kappas shooting and clubbing those who are foolish enough to try to fight back. They are approaching a door in the back of the room. And as they go to open this door, we shift viewpoints and we see on the other side a gun battle, quick-tempered men yelling at each other, people taking off outside a back door, people following. And as the door bursts open, Charlie, Ephraim, Argus, and a few others will see a group of Verda Kappas ready to come into this room. But you also hear a groaning as if the ceiling is about to collapse. You know, that explosion where it was placed just outside the door there probably destroyed something structural. One of the big burly men of the other pirate crew will say, acts first. He quickly scoops up Argus, who looks almost to have passed out again. And he turns to bolt out the back door. I will pass this back to you guys at this moment. You've got probably like a few seconds before the roof collapses on top of you.
From
I was going to say that if I recall correctly, I had just fired a shot between the two of these guys. So that means that Argus is fairly close to me as this guy's scooping him up.
I would say so, yeah.
All right. I am going to step up behind him, and you know how you swat someone's ankle when they're walking to just sort of trip them? I'm gonna whack his like rear leg over so that it basically, as he's walking or running, it catches on the other and it falls over.
Okay.
So would that be a melee attack?
Yeah. So that will be difficulty 2. So 2
Okay.
purple. This would be really, it would be a brawl attack.
Okay. Well, considering my brawl and my melee, I'm going to have a better shot at whacking him in the back of the head. So I'm going to take the butt of my revolver and my flintlock and just whack him in the back of the head. So, all right. So 2 against 3 purple, right? You said 3 purple?
2 purple.
2 purple. Much better. Okay. So it looks like I got 3 threat, 2. Let me decipher it real quick. So 1 threat. Nope, that got wiped out. So I got 1 success.
Okay, you were hitting him with the butt of your pistol?
Yep. Just whacking him with the fat end of the flintlock revolver. It's not a revolver, it's a pistol.
What is your brawn?
My brawn is 2, but because of one of my abilities, I'm allowed to use my agility in place of my brawn, and that's 3.
Is that for damage or for just for hitting?
Sorry,
your ability. Not that it matters. You said it's 2 or 3.
It's talent for finesse, tier 1. Use agility versus brawn when making only on the check. So the I guess the damage would be done by brawn, I guess.
Brawn. Okay, so you're gonna do in this case 3 points of damage, I would say.
Okay.
So his one hand that is not holding Argus, kind of rubs his hand. He's like, "Oh, mate, look, if it's between you or them, I'm with you. Let's get out of here." And he proceeds to go out the door.
After I whacked him on the back of the head?
Yep.
That's not how it's going to be played, mate. Drop him.
I'm saving his life.
I'm going to follow him out the door, but I'm going to keep close on him because I know that the ceiling's coming down.
I picture Charlie just kind of like Captain Jack Sparrow runs out of this room.
That's perfect.
Like you guys are all doing your shit, and it's just like,
yeah, not moments after you get out of the room there, it collapses behind you, effectively blocking the Verticappas from coming into the room after you guys. Nicola and Mr. Fisk, Captain Fisk, you should be called. We're already out in the sewer corridors. Nicola, you were approaching and catching up to Captain Morneau as she was running away. This is where I will use my GM point. As you are running past this one little, you didn't even notice it, but a bedraggled and scrawny, almost claw-like hand reaches out, grabs you, and pulls you into this corridor that you didn't even see. Effectively, this is going to let Morneau get away from you as you are pulled into this room. Captain Fisk, you see this chase happening. You can see Captain Morneau and you can see Nicola was almost right there on her. And then all of a sudden, Nicola went sideways and disappeared. And Captain Morneau continued down before turning into a different corridor. Nicola, when your eyes kind of adjust to the darkness that's in here, you see a bedraggled and scrawny man standing in front of you.
Does she recognize? Can she even see the face? I'm not even sure if she would. Oh.
So you see this filthy old, like foul-smelling man. He is missing an arm, and it looks to be extremely recent. The wound is very fresh. And as he pulls you in, he says, Nicola, come with me. It's almost a croak, but you recognize the voice, though it's hoarse and very raspy. You think it might be your father.
So I think at first Nicola is struggling. She's like pushing him back. Who are you? I don't know you. Get away from me. How did you know my name?
Shh. Quiet, child. And he pushes you such that he is now kind of would block your retreat the way that you came, so that you can't run that way. While he starts with his one hand, he digs into some sort of, you didn't even know that there was a pocket possible there, but he pulls out a chain. In fact, it's a necklace, and he holds it out to you. A promise is a promise.
You have to come with me. We have to go now.
Yes, you follow me. I'll take you someplace safe. And he starts to try to tug you further into this corridor.
I have others. There are other people here. My friends.
With this, we will pass back to Captain Fisk. What are you doing as you see Nicola disappear? You have just shot Captain Blackguard. As he ran out of the room, you were chasing after him. You have shot him. He's still running away. He's following Captain Morneau, in fact. You have heard the commotion behind you as the room that you had been in is now collapsed. What are you doing?
So I think there's this moment where he is reloading his blunderbuss on the go. He's already poured in the measured powder. He's got the scatter shot that he's poured in, and he's kind of using the ramrod to kind of push all of that home to pack it. And as he's running, chasing the two captains that are getting away, kind of doing this, he sees Nicola just disappear off to the side, and he runs up to that kind of T-juncture where this corridor that she's disappeared off into, or the section of wall from his point of view that she kind of disappeared into, comes off of this main corridor here. He runs up kind of to that point, and he's kind of looking at the other two captains and then looking to try to figure out where Nicola's gone, trying to figure out why she's diverted from the obviously straightforward path to catching their prey. Nicola! He's kind of looking around trying to find her.
Nicola, you would hear him as he comes closer.
Nicola pops her head from around the well, actually, isn't her father in front of her now?
Yeah, he is in your way. Yeah.
Please, let me bring them with me. We can trust them.
You must hurry.
I will be right back. She's gonna pass by her father out into the alley. Captain, this way.
But they're headed this direction. I can still see them.
I know. This is urgent. Ephraim and Charlie.
They're still behind us. I think they're coming. He kind of turns frantically, looking backwards towards where this place is collapsing in on itself. Do I see them?
I
You're
muted
muted.
myself. Yeah, as you look back, you can see that they come out, they're covered in like plaster dust and stone dust that as it billows out behind them, but you see them all. In fact, you see like a bunch of people vacated that room right before it collapsed.
So he'll call down the length of corridor kind of back towards them. Charles, Ephraim, come quickly, hurry.
Delaney's just kind of dusting himself off as he reaches over and grabs the dude by the shirt collar and says, "You're with me. You're in my pocket." And he starts dragging the guy with him, and he looks to see that Charlie's following behind.
On his tails, and perhaps even like as you turn around, I'm passing by you. Come on, Ephraim, on your feet. Let's go.
I'm already on my feet. I'm just pulling this bull calf along.
Where's Argus? Oh,
Should be in his arms, right?
yeah. I just
He's
imagine
kind
this
of-
didn't seem-
Yeah, kind of like almost like a potato sack against this big guy's over this big guy's shoulder, who you're trying to pull, but honestly, Ephraim, I think he's probably got you outbrawned, and he's following you because he chooses to at this point.
Is he
Well.
one of our crewmen?
No.
Okay.
Could be.
Was he just like a random person in the tavern?
He was one of the other crewmen from Blackguard's ship.
Oh, wow. Okay. Turncoat.
So while we're walking along, then, can I just reload my flintlock then? Just in case? Or do I need to stop and do that?
You can try. It'll take you longer to do it while you're moving. You wouldn't be able to pull this guy along if that's what you're going to do.
Well, I'm just going to follow along behind him and just tell him, "That's right. Head to the captain."
And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's heading to the captain. Unfortunately, it's probably, as you realize, once you get to where Captain Fisk is, it's the other captain. And
Well, by that
about to
time, would
run.
I have my gun loaded?
I would say no, not in this. There's been not enough time.
All right, I'm just going to tackle him.
And he's like, fine, if you want to die here, fine. And he'll drop Argus right on the floor and keep running.
Okay. So then I'll grab Argus by the shirt collar and lift him up and start following Fisk.
Is Argus unconscious?
Yeah, I would say at this point, Argus was wounded before
Yeah, I remember that.
The whole gunfight kind of broke out. And in the collapse, or something somehow in the explosion hit him, and he kind of started to pass out just as this guy was grabbing him to pull him out of the room. And so effectively now Argus is, yes, pretty unconscious.
Nicola is staying where she is. She is keeping kind of one hand on the alleyway and keep looking back to make sure that her father's still there, almost like not believing that he is, almost expecting one time for her to look in, he would just be gone. And she's like trying to get the rest to come quickly.
Yeah, and he's almost starting to pull on you. We've got to go. This place is swarming with the Verde Kappa.
They're almost here. Hurry, please.
Fisk will kind of look at the situation and realize that there's no way Argus is getting out of here on his own. And he'll sling his blunderbuss over his shoulder and pick up Argus the way that the previous guy had been carrying him, sling him over his shoulder on the other side from the blunderbuss. Let's go. Hurry.
Do the rest of you follow Captain Fisk?
Yeah, I would imagine that Delaney is probably looking back and forth, and then he catches Stitch's glance of a face, and he's like, "Oh man, I thought you were dead." I'm trying to find my accent again. And then he's like, just starts moving towards them urgently.
Yes, quickly. And with that, he starts to pull on you again, Nicola, and seeing that they're starting to come into the corridor, he pulls you further along this tiny, it's almost like I'd say a crack, except that it, big enough for him to go straightwise. But with Captain Fisk, you'll probably have to turn sideways to go through this narrow little corridor. And carrying Argus, well, that'll become difficult at this point. So you are going to have to find a way to drag him or something.
Okay. Does this look like something that's going to be possible to really do? Like to maneuver him through this narrow space? Or is this the kind of thing where I think I'm going to have to leave him behind?
No, I think you would think that that you'd be able to do it. It just won't be easy.
Okay. If I think there's a way to do it, then I'm certainly going to attempt it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess, I mean, Bronson's he's built like a brick shithouse, so he's just going to try to basically just gather his tunic kind of up in a knot in his fist and basically just lift him to the point where his feet just aren't dragging on the ground. And he's just going to tuck his arm kind of up against so he can kind of lean on his own shoulder a little for support. And he's just going to start shimmying through the gap as best he can.
That sounds perfect. So this will work. I'm going to have you roll athletics.
Yeah. That's the one that I just bumped up.
There you go. This will be difficulty hard, I think. So that'll be 3. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. So 3 purple. Both my brawn and my athletics are 4. So I should have 3 purple and 4 yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. And if a no successes on this doesn't mean you don't, like, you'll still move him along. If you fail on this check, it just how much strain you'll take and how much damage he could potentially take.
Okay. Makes sense. Let's see. The X's cancel out the suns. You know, eventually I might learn the terminology in this system, but it's very unlikely. Okay. So that is right now 4 failures. So wait, that's 3 failures, 3 advantages, but I have to roll these again. So, hey, okay. So, all right. So it's an even wash from successes and failures, but it is 3 advantage.
Okay, so you do not succeed. So you are going to take, say, 3 strain for doing this. However, you do manage to not bang Argus around, and so he will not take any damage. You said you got 3 advantage? Yeah.
Yes.
I think with the advantage, as well as not only not hurting Argus, but you also move almost normal paced at this point. Like, this is not slowing you down as well. Nicola, knowing that you are following him, your father kind of quickens his pace a bit, and he continues down this crack in the walls, in the foundations, and eventually it opens up into a kind of a wider space. He does not stop at this point, but it's almost like a corridor that you've come to, like an intersection or whatever. There's a few other smaller cracks, and he chooses the right-hand side one and disappears down that one. He looks back to make sure you are still following him, and then he continues. This probably goes on for about 15 minutes or so as he's weaving in and out of these cracks before he comes to a very rudimentary, almost chamber. Like, it's a very small little room. There's only one other exit out of this room, and here he does stop. I think we've lost him for now. We can rest here for a bit. Quick.
How do you know Nicola and Ephraim?
Who are you, sir?
He almost bristles a little at this, kind of like puffs his chest up a bit. I am Captain Fisk.
I ain't never heard of you.
Well, it doesn't change the fact that I am Captain Fisk. I haven't heard of you either, you wretched squalor of a person.
Yeah, fair. So if you're captain, you captain of my dear Nicola? And he looks to you, Nicola.
She just nods. Like, it seems as though the words have just been like sucked out. And she just kind of looks wide-eyed, just almost, this is like too much reality for her today. So she's just she looks from the captain to her father and just back again.
Nicola is my first mate.
At this, his eyes widen as he looks at you, Nicola, and he looks back at you, Captain Fisk. And he looks you up and down, and he sees the clothing that you're wearing and the equipment that you're carrying. So you're a pirate too, huh?
It depends on who's asking. Privateer, I think, is better.
Captain, this is my father.
Your, sorry, your father?
Yes.
He kind of, like, ignorantly looks to, like, the missing arm and then to Nicola's missing arm, almost like somehow that's a connection of genetics in his brain. And then it's like, hello, Mr. King. How are you?
Not well. Not well at all. I have much to tell you, but Nicola, really, I'd hoped for better from you.
As I recall, you left me in the hospital and you did not return. She's finally like found her voice, and this just becomes like an explosion. So who are you to judge what I have done with my life without you?
I set you into the hospital. Those women will take care of you, those good sisters. How could they let this happen?
And when I was healed, was there room for me there? Did you think about that? Did you think about if there was room for me? Did you think that someone would just, out of the kindness of their heart, take me in?
This, he looks down to the ground and he starts to mutter and mumble. But I paid them. Let me just. Yes, dagnabbit, I did. They promised.
You promised you'd be back. So of all people, you should know how good a promise can be.
Where are you leading us?
Away.
We should keep our voices down. If these tunnels are indeed crawling with Verdicappa, which is very likely at this point, yelling, and he kind of looks at Nicola and then back to this dirty, scruffy-looking human being, is only going to get us caught sooner. I am certain that whatever is left here unresolved today can be resolved at another time.
Yes, Captain.
Yes, you are wise. Nicola, there's much I need to tell you.
Why don't we get somewhere safe first?
This is as safe as these tunnels can be right now. We've got a few moments. What are you guys doing here in the city? The Verdicappas have... Well, they're hunting us all down. And I'm afraid it's partly my fault.
Us?
Privateers, in general.
She kind of like cocks an eyebrow of like, well, look who's calling the kettle black, kind of. But she doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I think Fisk like waits for like Nicola to catch his eye, and he just kind of gives her like a very discreet kind of shake of the head, like, you know, discretion might be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she would give the slightest nod. Stay silent.
And I think it's about this time that this man notices Ephraim come into the room as well. And Ephraim, you sly dog. you traveling with him too?
It's good to see you, Stitch. He walks over and he gives him a hug and he pushes him back and he's like,
Be careful, that hurts.
"You're just a regular tatterdemalion, aren't you? I think you smell better too. What is that? Did you
That's-
actually get a bath?"
No, that is stench.
I thought
To-
so.
Oh, of blood. Ephraim, I am glad to see that you made it out. That it worked.
I'm glad that you've made it out, even though others have been spreading word that otherwise it seems like there's something else afoot.
I wish I hadn't made it out. That's what I need to tell you. So you've heard then about the breakout from Carnival?
Aye.
That was me, but not my doing. I was just the one they broke out.
Well, Sliverjack, old messenger boy, said that you had taken the last sail.
Yeah, well, he's mistaken. No, that copper leg bastard. He's behind all this. He broke me out just so he could torture me to get the information I have. I resisted as long as I could, and at this point he moves the stump of his arm. I did give in. And then he turns to you, Nicola. And for that, I'm very sorry. He is after you now, my dear. Well, I should say what you
Without
have.
even thinking, Delaney kind of looks over at Nicola and says, "You're a pair." And then he realizes what he said. Yeah, I think that you're better left with your daughter right now. I'm going to go see about my crewmate here. It's good to see you, old friend. And he just kind of steps over to the side and he starts checking on Argus. Quick question. I do have a healing draft. Does that look like it would help him? A healing tonic?
No, a healing tonic is not going to heal his arm. I mean,
No, I meant Argus.
Argus?
Yeah. So we wouldn't have to carry his lazy ass. I mean, just kidding.
Yes, you could use a healing tonic on him. It may or may not revive him from unconsciousness, though.
Okay. So yeah, he nervously edges away and gives a good berth because he realized he's put his foot in his mouth and steps over to Argus and begins pulling out the healing tonic and there, boy. You'll be on your feet in no time.
Fisk is going to go over to Nicola's father and say, "You spoke of a man with a copper leg. Who is this? What's his name?" Gotcha.
I was really hoping you wouldn't ask me that.
You can say it. That's fine.
um,
We can just say that he says it, and then you can give it to me later. I'm good with that.
In fact, it's called Captain Jack Copper because
Jack
I am
Copper.
that creative. It's the dreaded Captain Jack Copper. Worst pirate on them seas. And as soon as he says the name Jack Copper, you guys have all heard of him.
Yeah, I had in my notes a note about a copper-legged man.
Isn't that the guy who wanted to be captain? Or am I thinking something different?
You're thinking something different. You have not actually met this man, though a couple of sessions ago, you heard of him, and he was present in Port Saran when you guys were there.
Okay.
He followed the little girl that found your teddy bear back to her house.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go. So that was like a meta scene. That wasn't necessarily something that our characters knew.
That is right. Yeah. So
Okay. That's what happens when you don't take proper notes, folks.
So he
On my
says,
part, not on Karen's part, on my part. I just realized how that sounded.
so yeah, as soon as he says that name, it's almost like a shiver runs through your bodies. Nobody, it's almost like a superstition. Nobody says that name out loud.
Yeah, I think Fisk like puts his forearm across Stitch's like upper chest, not quite on his neck, but almost like kind of where his collarbone sticks out, and kind of presses him up against the wall. And he kind of leans in and he's like, "You set Captain Jack Copper on us."
No, I would never. And he looks to you, Nicola. I tried my hardest, but he has ways about him. He wants what you have, what I gave you. And I tried to resist.
She looks very confused. But instinctively, I think she would go and look at her arm. I don't know what you mean, Father. What did you give me?
Your bear. You still have it, don't you? It's as precious as you are.
Nicola's face would just go pale. I lost it.
You can see he's about to like almost yell, but then he looks to Captain Fisk, who has got him pinned to the wall, and the yell dies in his throat.
Yeah, and Fisk kind of sees that and realizing that this object that Captain Copper is going to be after, is no longer in Nicola's possession. That seems like they're at least out of immediate danger, and so he relaxes a little and actually lets him go.
As you hear these stray dogs barking in the alleyway, you notice that Ephraim is edging forward and he's like, "Fisk, I'm your man, you know that. But you need to not treat Stitch this way. He's in a good and honorable sort, even though he smells like he just swam through the sewer."
Yes, forgive me. Well, it's good news then that Captain Copper is no longer after us. Yes?
Oh, yes. And he looks to Nicola. We need to get that back. But
what is so special about it?
And he looks to you, Ephraim. Did you not tell her what I told you to say?
Of course. I made a promise to you, and I delivered your message just right. Right, lady?
Right, but it didn't make any sense. Something about a moon. Is that right? What?
The Great Bear swallowed the blood moon.
Right.
The blood moon was swallowed by the great bear. Yeah.
How was I supposed to know? I didn't even know it was you.
They didn't. Oh, seems like there's 2 promises lost. I'm sorry, child. But forgive me for asking again, but why then?
I think you cut out, Karen.
Oh, did I?
I just heard why then, and
Oh.
I was waiting.
Oh, sorry. Why are you here then?
Ephraim just points over at Argus. We lost a crew member.
Why was he here in Parag? Why? Why would you guys risk coming to the city?
Brass balls.
There's some questions we need answered. We were attacked.
By what?
By these strange things. Flying creatures. It's so terrifying. I don't even know how to explain it.
Try.
She kind of looks to the others because she had spent the majority of that fight under a blanket in just absolute fear.
I think Fisk kind of looks to her in her uncertainty and looks back to Stitch, almost like he's unsure of how to even put it into words because he himself hasn't been thinking about it enough to really deal with it and understand what it was. He's kind of just tried to push it out of his mind, the fact that this happened. And he just kind of stumbles for a moment. Black, horrible.
Oh,
Disgusting.
and Delaney gets a big grin on his face, like this, and he reaches over and grabs Charlie's hand and goes to pull off the glove.
The glove comes off.
Like this. It's beautiful.
What does my hand look like?
Good thing you asked. So, if I remember correctly, you had put a mark where the darkness had
Yeah, so like
had gone
measure
to.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it has passed it by probably a good 2 inches.
I think upon seeing that too, Nicola would go like all doctor voice. Charlie, you were supposed to tell me if this thing grew.
I think like as soon as the glove comes off, he kind of like sees that it's farther, and he like, oh, well, I hadn't had a chance to look.
You could lose your hand.
I don't know what you want me to do about it.
Show me next time.
Anyway, name's Charlie. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Where did you get that? He's looking at your hand.
Put my hand in some stuff I probably shouldn't have.
Was this the same creatures that you were fighting, Nicola?
More or less.
So it has started.
Wait,
You're gonna have to
what
be a little
started?
less vague, mate.
I'm so sorry. It seems that I need to talk to a woman. She did not tell you the things I told her to tell you, Nicola. When you were grown old enough to hear them, she was supposed to tell you. I think you need to see her now.
Is she here in Paragon?
She's at the university. She's the head librarian. Lady Fleshley. And as soon as he says that name, you remember her. I'm trying to remember, but you left the university rather than finish your studies, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, she would
got
have
whisked away.
Right. Yeah. So this Lady Fleshley was definitely the head librarian at the time that you were there as well.
Yes, I know of her.
You need to see her. She can answer many questions, but that, and he points to Charlie's hand, that requires special magics.
Magics?
I know, Nicola, you're all about the science. You always were. But there are things in this world that science cannot explain. You need to take him to see a Tuvaluan woman. That, and as he says that, Captain Fisk, that actually jots a little memory of yours. Babette, back in Port Havern. Though not a Tuvaluan woman herself, she was the daughter of one.
Okay, jog my memory for me. Babette.
Babette is the lady of the night that you frequented often at Madame Tussauds.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Like you do.
Like you do. The one I believe that actually
Babette.
got kicked out of Madame Tussauds.
We don't talk about that. Okay, so Babette, and she is a what kind of woman?
She is the daughter of a Tuvaluan woman. A Tuvaluan is would be almost like so I want to say like shaman. It's like a special religious figure of like of a religion that Babette and her people would have followed.
Okay.
So,
and is it like an older thing, like an indigenous to this area kind of thing, or
not here in Paragon, where the religion here in Paragon is more like Catholicism,
right?
And the Tuvaluan is more like Voodoo, if you want to put it like into modern terms.
It's more like what?
Voodoo or voodoo.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So it's a different religion entirely than what you can find here.
Okay, and is it the kind of thing where is there like a secretive like sect of people that practice it here within the city, or is it the kind of thing that would not exist at all?
Not here in the city.
Okay.
If there is, it'd be extremely
hard to
hidden
find.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your best bet would be to go back to Port Havern, where that kind of religion is more accepted,
more prominent. Okay. So when he says all of that, Fisk will kind of step to the side with Charlie and say, Charles, I think I know where we might be able to find a Tuvaluan woman. At least someone who can help us find one.
I'm certainly all ears, Captain.
It means we would have to go back to Port Haffron.
Suppose I don't really have any objections with leaving here. I thought we'd at least make it 4 more hours before the Verticap were on us like flies on shit.
Yes, I think it's time that perhaps we've left. And he kind of looks to the other two for confirmation.
We have to go to the university first. I have to speak with the librarian.
Is this a safe trip for you to make, Nicola?
I can do it. You take
Very
care
well.
of Charlie.
We'll see about getting Argus. Oh, go ahead.
I think I could take care of myself.
Obviously, black arm and all.
I would flip you off with my black finger.
Ah, that's my boy.
Captain Fisk needs to go with you. He knows this woman.
We're leaving for Havern without you.
No. We'll give Nicola time to make her arrangements, but we need to get Argus back on board the Triton's Folly.
I think
We need
Charlie
to
will
make ready for sail.
kick his body. Stupid oaf.
We can't just. Where is the Triton? It's not. It's not in Paragon, right? Because we took a little boat or a little ship.
No, so you're actually docked now in Paragon. You
I mean,
took,
like a false alias, right?
yeah. You're docked as a merchant ship. You're on one of the lower levels of the dock, so that it was an easier escape route, if you will. So from the land, you didn't have to, if you were chased or whatever, you had a quicker way to get back to your ship. So right now, you're a little lost about exactly where you are in the sewers. Stitch could help you and explain it, but you're probably a few hours. Well, not a few hours, but you are a good at least hour and a half if you wanted to go back through the sewers. You're going to have to find a new way because of what happened at the crypt. But you could head back there, and he tells you that the university is actually about 15 minutes from where you're at.
So this is kind of a situation where it makes more sense to perhaps leave Argus maybe here and then come back this direction after doing the university together.
Yeah, you can do that.
The other option is if you guys don't want to come, Nicola could just take a quick trip to the university and meet you guys back at the ship.
Well, the Verticappa are kind of stirred up.
Mm.
So, I mean, like, if Nicola wants to go alone, like, I'm totally okay with that. But Fisk would probably have to think about just sitting on his laurels while she goes to go do that on her own.
I mean, yeah, it's up to you guys. I know that kind of splits the party, which is bad,
Right,
but
exactly. So yeah, if she's up for people going with her, then Fisk he'll want to go along.
I'll go, but someone's gonna watch Argus.
I don't even know the cunt.
Truthfully, I wish I didn't.
I can watch him for you.
Truthfully, I don't know about that. Don't really know you. Just worked really hard to get this guy back.
Yeah, he's a good sort. He's considering the circumstances, he's got himself out of a lot of right shit situations. I think that he's.
I mean, didn't he just say that he got out of one of these situations by ratting on us?
he was tortured.
Well, who's to say he's not going to get tortured again? He's not going very far without Nam.
Fisk will look to Delaney. Can he be trusted?
I trust this man with my life.
You vouch for him, then.
I
Very well. He kind of turns to Stitch. We'll leave Argus in your care. If anything, and I mean anything, further should befall him, I will see you hung from the side on.
And Delaney actually looks over at Stitch, kind of like with sort of wide eyes, just hoping that he's going to pull through for him. He trusts him, but
And he looks at you, Captain Fisk. If anything would happen to your man, it is because I am already hung from a yardarm. I will guard him with my life.
Very well. He kind of takes one last look at Argus and decides that it's just going to have to be what it is. And then he turns to Nicola. Lead the way.
And with that, Stitch will turn to you, Nicola, and he will explain the quickest and most safe route for you to get from here to the university and back. And he tells you it'll put you like in a sewer exit just across the street from the university. And with that, and you guys leave Argus to Stitch's care and take off through the sewers, we will stop for a bio break. All right, thank you everyone for paying attention so far, and we will be back in 5 to 10.
I love Snickers, and Yvonne bought me one of these Halloween bags. The problem with these fun sizes is it's so easy just to keep going. It's like, oh, they're so small. I can just keep eating them.
That's just a bite. There's nothing in it. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Uh-oh. Karen ditched us. She's done.
I am the captain now. She was like, screw this game.
Right. See, that was the
Apparently we're
plan
s-
all along. Nicola got Charlie with some sort of black disease, and
Yep. It's all just Nicola. Hide everything.
Nicola is the big bad guy.
Oh, sorry, everyone. Karen's computer has crashed.
What happened?
Is it down for the count or?
I don't know. She's rebooting it right now.
Okay.
What happened? Her computer crashed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. I guess we're still live. Hopefully it doesn't drop the stream.
I think we've had this problem before and it doesn't.
I think it just makes another person the host and it still keeps streaming.
That's cool. It's pretty well thought out.
Mm-hmm. We're stress testing the system. That's it.
Exactly. Hold please. Do 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 do.
I've also seen it where the host gets dropped and they can't get back in the stream, so we might have to do a part 2.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
I hope not.
Or they can join the stream, but they're not the host anymore.
I think I can make someone the host. Yeah, I can make them host. So hopefully that will work.
It's cool. Go Zoom.
Woo.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
So, this is an interesting conundrum. Charlie's going to lose his hand.
We're just gonna have a whole team.
Yeah,
Of
I was gonna say, that seems like the theme of our ship here. No one can hold on to their hand very long.
There's been a run on cybernetic implants.
The Triton's true folly is its right hand. It's a big metaphor.
So I should probably write down Babette's name. I am thinking that's probably just a Jeremy issue and not a Fisk issue, but I suppose we'll see.
I guess she wasn't that memorable.
I'm so bad. I'm like, did I come up with that? And I just don't remember. It's like, oh God. My character's a whore.
Yeah, I know. As soon as Karen started saying my backstory, I quickly went and looked at the doc I sent her. I was like, okay, I can't mess this up.
Like, I have a few notes written down of the stuff that we came up with in the session 0. But Babette is not on there. So, I don't know. We'll find out. And it was Tuvarin? Tuvarin? Oh, she's back.
Hello.
What was the voodoo religion? Tuvarin?
It's in the chat.
Is it? Oh, there you go. Cool. Thank you. Do you not have audio, Karen? It might make for an interesting game.
She's gonna use sign
I'm
language.
just, yeah,
Jacob.
Interpretive dance, go.
just getting everything all booting up.
All right, the rest of the game is in charades.
No, I'll just let you guys run it.
Maybe you say interpretive dance.
You do
That's
not
3
want to do
strain and 2 wounds. Yes.
I don't know. She just poured black paint all over herself. I don't know what that means.
She's rolling around the wall. I'm not sure how to interpret that.
I was
I'm
pretending
more of a
to
5e
be
player, so
Charlie.
It turns out she's actually like possessed, and we're like, great acting, Karen.
All right. All right, we're all back.
welcome back.
Okay, I'm going to try sharing. Okay, so we last left you. You were approaching the university. So I was following Stitch's instructions and his directions. You were able to find it no problem getting to where he said, and you've cautiously gone up the sewer exit, and you see the university across, the university library across from you. Who's all going in? All of you?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be much of a spectacle if any of us stayed outside, right?
Well, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to assume you guys all go in.
Nicola's going to change back because she had taken off her like university clothes that she was disguising herself with to not get in gross sewer. So she is going to put that back on.
Okay.
Does she usually dress in university clothes? Or was that like just getting off the boat?
That was just getting off the boat to kind
Okay.
of fit in.
Perfect.
Okay, so you change back into your disguise and approach the library itself. You are not stopped, you're not questioned or anything, and you find yourself inside the library. The place is massive. But Nicola, you have spent many hours here. What do you do once you're inside?
I would think that she would start walking towards the main desk where she would know where the head librarian would normally be, or even if she wasn't there, one of her associates.
Yeah, you know that the head librarian has an office in the back, but you probably can't get to it without talking to the person that'll be at the front desk.
Yep.
So you approach, and there's a young woman sitting there, probably also a student at the university at one point. And she looks up and looks at you and then kind of looks around you to the 3 men behind you. And she's kind of, her eyebrows kind of raise, seeing who you're with. And she's like, yes, can I help you?
Good day. I'm here to speak with Lady Fleshley. Is she in?
Yes. Do you have an appointment?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. This is of a rather urgent matter. Can you tell her that Miss King is here to see her?
Sure. She looks around you again. Just one moment. Don't touch anything. And she will get up from her desk and she disappears into the back behind the shelves that are right behind her. And she's gone for a couple of minutes. Do you do anything while she's away?
Yeah, I would imagine that Delaney looks at his comrades and he's like, what, does she think we're going to steal something here? Like, I'm going to read all these fucking books? I don't run with people who are going to buy these things. Well, you aside, of course, Nicola. I'm just fucking up, aren't I? So we're going to go up the riggings, Captain? Are we heading to the crack Jenny's teacup after this?
Just behave, Ephraim.
Oh. And he kind of brings his voice down and remembers that he shouldn't be raising his voice in a library.
I would imagine that we are not far out of the Verticappa's reach here. We should play this very, very carefully.
Valid point. And he kind of stands up straight and tries to look like he thinks that a right nobleman might act, and with a stick up his ass.
I think Nicola is going to be snooping a little bit just at the desk, just seeing what's there, papers and whatnot. She can't help it.
Which probably works with what Delaney's doing, because he's off to the side, sort of making not a loud spectacle, but he's not talking softly. And people are probably looking at him and the captain talking, if anything.
Charlie's just like making like small side steps away to distance myself from you guys being obnoxious. I'm just gonna stand over here.
That's perfect. Yeah, Ephraim, you definitely get a few people look up from their studies, look over at you, kind of frown a little bit, and then they go back to their studies. A couple would spend a little bit longer staring before kind of quickly going back to their books, trying not to be part of whatever this is that you have going on here. Nicola, you are looking through the papers and there's nothing interesting. It's, I don't know, some sort of arcane writing that this woman's looking at, but you notice that also underneath, it looks like she's actually got one of those pulp mags that have just started coming out, those little gothic chapter books. And you can tell if that's what she's reading instead. Instead of probably doing what it's supposed to be appearing that she is doing. And it's about that point when the girl returns from the back and she kind of looks at you, looking at her stuff. And she's like, she frowns a little, but she doesn't say anything. Instead, she says, "Follow me. Lady Fleshley will see you. All of you." She says, kind of almost like in kind of surprise.
Delaney just starts walking boldly, like, of course you'll see all of us.
Thank you.
This way. And so she leads you behind the shelf of books back into kind of a back corner of the library office space. And she points to a door. So you may go in.
Fisk is absolutely letting Nicola take the lead on this one. He is out of his element, 100%.
Yeah, Nicola would go ahead into the office.
So you walk into the office, and this room is absolutely filled with all sorts of books and papers. There's a nice mahogany desk centered in the room, and behind it, there is a woman. And she looks up as you enter, Nicola. Miss King, I see you've returned.
Hello, Lady Fleshley. It's been far too long.
It has. Now, what brings you here?
I'm afraid I must be brief. We are in some danger at the moment. My father made a reappearance. His actually, can I retcon that? I don't think she would say that. I don't think she would say that he's still alive, even because people think he's dead. So if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. This man, and she would motion to Ephraim, knew my father, and before my father, well, met an uncertain end, he told me that I should seek you out, that you had something that you needed to tell me, something that you hadn't.
You left before I could. But that is true. I have something to tell you. But I'm not sure if you are ready yet to hear it. And she leans forward on her desk, and her arms, both arms will go up, kind of clasped on the desk. And when she does so, you can see that she is wearing a chain around her wrist. And on the chain is almost like a little medallion. And it catches your eye because it is the same medallion. Like, it looks exactly like one of the gears you have in your arm.
Well, forgive me, lady, but I'm not sure that that is your decision. My father seemed quite insistent that I know this information.
He was also quite insistent with me that I did not tell you this information until the proper time had arisen. That you had learned certain things.
Well, how can I know that I've learned certain things without you telling me what things that I have to learn?
You will know when you have known them.
You can see Nicola's hand just clench and unclench her fist and relax.
Didn't you establish when we were talking to Stitch that you got pushed out? That they didn't allow you to stay? Or you said something like that? Or am I remembering wrong?
Of the university?
Yeah.
No,
Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
yeah, no, that's okay. No, she just left.
Okay.
She just kind of disappeared one day.
Okay.
I think Fisk is there a window in this office or whatever this place is?
No, in fact, there is not.
No. Okay. So Fisk is probably just, I guess, maybe standing near the door.
Okay.
Kind of like he's expecting everything to come apart at any moment, for the Verticappa to rush in, like everything that they've tried to accomplish has usually ended in some kind of disaster kind of hitting the fan. So he's right at the door waiting for that to happen. And he's just on pins and needles right now. He doesn't want to be here very long.
Lady Fleshly kind of leans forward a little bit more and she looks at you, Nicola. And then she motions to your arm. I see you still wear it. You've taken good care of it.
Of course, I still wear it as my arm.
Well, I know what the things you've been getting up to lately. There's been stories.
Stories, Lady Fleshly. I'm surprised that you would take heed of such stories, a academic such as yourself.
Listen, girl, I'm just trying to help you.
Are you? Because it seems as though you are avoiding what my father gave strict instructions to tell me. Listen, I've had a very trying day. I really would appreciate something direct for once.
Oh. What was your father's real name before he was known as Stitch?
I don't think I came up with that, but I can. William? There we go.
William. Okay. Forgive me, William. Nicola, your arm. I need you to look at your arm.
And she does.
Make me a perception check while you're doing it.
Okay. Perception. What's the purple?
Make it 2.
Oh boy. Okay. That is a failure.
So just a straight failure, no advantage or anything?
Nope, that's straight fail. Yep.
Do you not see it?
I see gears. I see mechanics. What are you talking about?
You left your studies far too quickly. Girl, look at your arm. Look at your gears. Your father left you something.
She's gonna look again. Harder, I guess.
Yeah.
Her gaze intensifies.
Fisk like uncomfortably clears his throat from the door, like, like this is taking too long.
Yeah. And Delaney's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Why with all the fucking riddles here? Why can't we just get to the point? The world's coming apart, lady. You're beautiful and all,
the
but,
point.
Okay. Spill it, please. I'm holding my breath.
Actually, could I make another check? And this time I'm going to use. Do we have story points? Yes.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Fantastic. Once per session, I may spend a story point to use my intelligence instead of the whatever would normally be.
Sure. Go for that.
All right. So that's a 4 instead of a 2. Oh, okay, good. That is 4 success and 1 threat.
Okay. So this time you actually, maybe somewhere along the line of her questioning, the fact that she's fiddling with the chain on her arm, but it clicks. There's a gear in your arm that looks just like the medallion on her chain that you've never figured out what it's done. So I would say you reach in to maybe touch it and maybe you prick your finger or something on one of the other gears, and you'll take 1 wound. That's your threat. But you managed to get your hand on that gear.
The gear. There's a gear here that doesn't serve any function.
Well, doesn't serve any function in your arm. And she holds out her hand.
Nicola puts her arm with where the gear is faced up towards her.
And the lady reaches in and she pulls the gear out. And it's not just a gear. It is a gear and it's attached to a little tiny key. Now, I may show you what your father wanted you to see. This way. And with that, she will stand up from her desk. She walks around to the door and looks at you, Miss Captain Fisk. If you would be so kind.
He kind of looks at her as if he doesn't know what she's talking about for a second, and then realizes she must be talking about just opening the door and letting them out. Oh, yes, of course. He kind of reaches across and opens the door.
Follow me. And she looks back at you, Nicola, and your friends. You vouch for them, I assume?
For the most part, yes.
Very well. And she leads you to a small little closet, almost. And you're not quite sure what she's doing, but she enters this closet. And you find yourself, instead of actually in a closet, you find yourself in a hallway, kind of behind the library office. And she leads you down the corridor a little bit and then back into another room where, again, you're back in the library proper, but you're in one of the more restricted areas where they've got some older books, etc. I don't come here very often. We have some rare books, as you can see. And as she's talking, she's walking towards kind of the center of this room where there's this pattern on the floor. And she bends down and takes the little gear that you gave her, the one that's got a key on it. I hope this still works. It's been many, many years since we've opened it. And at that, she clicks the key in the lock. And for a brief second, there's no sound. But then you hear the grinding of gears as the floor, the pattern kind of starts to open. Kind of like an aperture, like a camera opening, just opens. And when it becomes a fair size, something starts to cork, screw, spiral its way up. And after a few moments, you see in front of you a metal cage, if you will. And she goes to it and opens the door and says, "Please, get in."
Nicola would take a deep breath, but in the interest of time, she does so without any second hesitation.
Actually, Delaney reaches over and cautionary touches your arm and says, "Do you trust Lady Fleshley at this point?" "I've been in cages before, miss."
I don't see that we really have a choice at this point. If we want answers, this is our best shot.
All right. He looks over at Fisk, kind of waiting for a nod or something.
I think in Fisk's face, Ephraim finds like a mirrored expression of that kind of doubt and uncertainty. he looks at Nicola, and then he kind of looks at Mrs. Fleshley and kind of studies her for a second. And then he looks back to Ephraim and nods. I think we should press on.
All right. He kind of starts fidgeting, like just uncomfortable as he follows into the cage, like he's uncomfortable. He's very uncomfortable.
And once you're all inside, Lady Fleshley follows you in and closes the door behind her. Once the door latches, she again takes that little key that she had from you, Nicola, and she places it in like a little panel that's on one of the bars. She turns the key, and the entire mechanism starts to cork spiral the opposite direction down into the floor. A few minutes later, you find yourself in a small, for lack of better words, vault. She opens the door, exits the cage, indicates for you to do as well. And she proceeds to head to the side where she lights one of the, like a sconce. And as soon as she does, you see around you are bare walls with strange devices on some shelves here and there. But of most import is a desk. And on the desk is a strange manuscript. Now, before I show you this, know that your father saw this when he was about your age, and it changed his life. But he wanted you to see it when you were ready. The fact that you are here now and that he sent you back means that he believes you are ready for this, or at least that you need to know this. And she takes you over to this book. It is a very weathered, old, ancient tome. It's not made of paper, as you know. It's thicker. The writing on it is strange. It's mostly pictorial. This has been here for years. It is a strange civilization's, an ancient one. It is the only known copy that we have. This is what he wanted you to see.
Nicola looks around for a moment before carefully approaching this book and looking at it. And with her good hand, she reaches out to just very, ever so gently, just touch the pages.
And the pages are odd feeling to you. It almost looks like paper, but it's not. They're very smooth and slick, I guess is the word. Not moist at all, but your fingers just kind of rush on them, if you will. It is no material that you've ever seen before, but it's also very old. And these together maybe spark your curiosity a bit. But it's the drawings and the pictures on it that are most intriguing. They're of a strange world. You've never seen a place like this. There's pictures of maybe buildings. All of this is foreign to you. They don't look anything like anything you have ever seen before. And all around these buildings, that they don't even look like they're not huts or anything. They look almost, in your mind, futuristic compared to what you have here. But all around them is forest and jungle. So it's kind of a strange juxtaposition. And as you're carefully flipping these pages, you see one picture where, and you stop and you look at it because it reminds you so much of that package that you guys found so many weeks ago. But unlike the one that you have seen in real life, there is more to it. It looks complete in the book. Like the part that you have is just that, a part. And in the heart of this device, you see the biggest, most crimson ruby nestled inside. And as you stop, Lady Fleshly looks at you. Ah, catches your eye, does it not?
Yes, it's quite amazing.
It truly is. There's a legend about this. This book, these peoples. Shall I tell it to you?
Please, do.
It is said that once there was this advanced civilization that flourished and thrived, that they knew magics that we did not. But one day, interlopers came to their world, to their city, saw all the riches that these peoples had, killed them for it. The people retaliated, but not before one soul got away with some of these stolen riches and the tales. And it was that was the undoing. As the tales spread, more interlopers came. They came back to this legendary city, this city of riches, and they killed the people. These people with magics and technology with so above our own, but they could not survive against the iron and steel of these weapons. And so to save themselves, they cast the strongest magic spell that they had, and they disappeared. The entire city, it is gone. It is now in a place outside of our time and our space. The legend says that in times of need, the city will reappear. when we are ready to have what it offers. It could be a story. Don't know, but your father believed in it. And he's been searching for pieces of that. And she points to the device on the paper. Since he saw this book.
You mean had been, right? Had been searching for pieces.
Yes, all his life.
You thought I wasn't listening. The slack-jawed look and got drool down his cheek.
Nicholas gonna look closer at these pictures. Do any of them resemble the monsters that we fought against?
No, strangely enough, the entire book, like if you go through it all, has no recollection to any, like no indication at all to any of these strange creatures that you've seen.
So what you're saying is my father was looking for this technology and these riches through this, and she points to the device with the ruby in it.
I'm not sure what he was looking for, to be honest. He felt that it was extremely important that he find these pieces. He felt that, and she chuckles a little bit, that it was his duty, that he needed to find them before somebody else did. I don't know what he was expecting to find if he got them together. Maybe he thought it would bring the city back. I don't know. I have studied this book, and I do not know what this device will do once all the pieces have been found.
Why all of the precaution? Why safeguard this book down here with a key that's been separated for some 20 years now?
William asked me to keep this for him. We built this room specifically for this and the things that he found. It is my secret as to why I did what he asked.
Well, Stitch, that rascally old fool. He caught quite the beauty, didn't he? He winks at her. And right then you see his blackened teeth. He's like, yeah, you had something for Stitch. He was a looker in the day, wasn't he? Sorry, Nicola. Maybe she's your mom. I don't know. Oh, he kind of just shuffles off to the side.
This is all very interesting, but we had some other questions. And I believe we are quite short on time, so hopefully you can help us with this quickly.
I will answer what I can.
There are these beings that we fought. They were of another time and looked like different space. They came through the sky and they attacked us. They brought fear to our hearts.
So it started.
See, hold on. You're the second person that has said that, and no one is saying anything more. So I expect some fucking answers, okay? I take my glove off again. Some good fucking answers, because I'm about 6 seconds away from cutting these fingers off right fucking now.
And as soon as she sees your hand, her eyes widen. You've fought these things.
Yes. Yes, we have. Tell us more right now.
I'm afraid I don't know much, but I will tell you what I do. They are not from here. Nicola, she looks at you. I know you're just going to say this sounds crazy. You've always been one to not believe that there are things besides science. But there are. There are veils that protect this world from others, and it seems that the veils are thinning. What you have encountered are creatures from another world, if you will. Is there anything strange that happens before you see them?
There's like this hole in the wind.
Yes, a hole. Like as if the air itself had torn. Right? That is the veil ripping.
Veil. What veil?
I don't know how better to explain it, but it is, you know how you can put cloth up in a room so you can't see beyond it, effectively making two rooms from one.
Aye.
So imagine that our world is one side, another world is on the other side, and you can't get through. But this veil, it protects us from crossing from one world to the next. So like the curtain would stop from going from one part of the room to the other. But like a curtain, it is fragile. And if torn, passage could be made.
So what is tearing this curtain, this veil?
That I do not know. Just at certain times. And then she points back to the text. This indicates that the veil between worlds, this place where they are, this place out of our time and space, it will thin and allow this city, this people to come back. The time must be approaching if the veils are thinning. But as to what those creatures are, I do not know. I've never seen them before.
Just in the books that might explain it. Anything. Any account where this might have happened before.
I'm afraid not. I have been searching. You are not alone in seeing these. There have been a few incidents in town, in the city itself. They stopped a few weeks ago. Well, I should not say stopped. They lessened a few weeks ago. Which to your minds would remind you about the time that Captain Morneau and her vessel would have stolen the package and sailed away with it.
So perhaps it's linked to this. I think it was like the Gear Heart or something.
The world's heart. Yeah.
World's Heart.
Perhaps these creatures, whatever they are, maybe they, I don't know, feel its power or attracted to it.
I think Fisk has kind of reached inside of his vest and has pulled out a ledger, like a small ledger, not a large book, but it's probably 6 to 8 inches long or so by about 4 inches wide. And he kind of is holding on to it for just a moment. There's also this. And he opens the book, and anybody who happens to be standing close to him can see these drawings that have been scribbled over whatever was originally written in this ledger. And just like, almost like somebody took a pencil, like just in a fist, and just drew. And anybody who's close enough can recognize that these are all drawings of the skull. And it's just page after page after page in this ledger filled with drawings of this skull from every different angle. None of them are particularly good, but he flips to kind of one of the last pages that has a more kind of detailed drawing of this skull. And he kind of turns and with his hand on the whole ledger kind of slams it down on the table next to this ancient book and kind of spins the ledger book towards her and points his finger. Does this mean anything to you?
She grabs the ledger book and she's looking at it, and she flips back a few pages and flips forward a few more. You've drawn these as if you've seen this.
Yes. What is it?
And then she goes to the ancient text that's on the desk, and she flips back a few pages from where you had stopped, Nicola. And in one of the corners, she points down to the page. That. And if you look, almost like crudely drawn, but you can tell it's the same thing, but it's tiny, is the same skull. But it is on a pedestal in a vast room on top of a vast room that has like almost like a hill pyramid, if you will, inside, and a pedestal on top of that, and the skull is sitting on it.
Fisk kind of stands there numbly, I think, for a long moment. Definitely a long enough moment that someone else could interject.
You actually hear the metallic sound of the lid being uncorked off of as Delaney is taking a swig, and he's like, "What the fuck did I get myself into here? These fuckers are crazy. Black hands, skulls."
Charlie like nudges him after you take a shot, like, yeah, let me
Without even thinking, he looks over and he sees that you're gonna grab it with the black hand, and he's like flinches.
I
for a
wouldn't
second.
grab it with my black hand, okay?
Okay.
Pulling up the mask to take the shot, you see 2 strips of like decaying teeth, as if there's no cheeks, and like some of it runs out down his face as he kind of covers his mask back over it and hands it back. Well, what is it? I can't read this fucking book, okay? I don't know what you're showing me.
No one can read this fucking book, she says to you. All I know is it looks like it belongs there. So if you've seen this, you should hang on to it.
Yeah, Fisk looks almost wounded by this, like almost like a duh expression, because like he doesn't have any notion of turning this thing loose at all at the moment. It's almost kind of not taking over, but it's definitely dominating a lot of his time and thoughts. So he kind of takes his ledger book back and folds it closed and stuffs it away, and just kind of starts wandering as if he's just lost in thought.
All right, very well. We'll be taking this book with us, and I think we should leave.
Lady Fleshley looks to you, Nicola, when Charlie says that you'll be taking the book. This is your father's.
For once, I think that Charlie's right. We need... we need this book to study it. To make sure we're not missing anything. Maybe there's something else we can find from it. Some more answers.
I think Charlie's already got the book in his bag.
I'm helping you move it into your bag, and I'm looking over at her. So when did you last see him? Recently, right?
No, but I'd heard. She looks to you, Nicola, before she says the next thing. I'd heard he had escaped.
Well, thank you for all you've done.
Nicola, all of these are your father's. And if the stories are true, and he is not with us anymore, that means they are yours now. And she hands you back your little key. You may come whenever you need to. This is your vault. You have the only key.
She kind of looks at the pendant that Lady Fleshley carries. What is that, if I may ask?
And she'll hold it out to you. It was just a clue for you to see beyond what is here and visible. To see and maybe piece together things that do not normally just lost for words.
She just, Nicola would just nod in understanding. It's all right. I understand.
Your studies were meant, if you had stayed here, you would have learned to see beyond this reality. But you cut those short. But nevertheless, like I said, this is your room. Come here when you need to.
Could I also borrow some books from the library?
She kind of stands back a little shocked. What kind of books are you looking for?
Ancient civilizations, ancient languages, anything of that sort. Anything. I know you've looked into it for years, but maybe a fresh set of eyes would help.
Maybe you can see what I cannot see. You are learning. With that, she will go back towards the cage.
Is there anything of value in here, like within arm's reach, that Charlie can grab? Like monetary value that we can sell?
um,
I'm stealing.
yeah, you can tell me what you find and what you are taking.
I want to say that there's like this intricate kind of like gyroscope, but like there is no open space. It's just like all these ticking pieces kind of rotate. It's like the size of a globe. Nah, probably not that big. Like a small, what are they called? Snow globe. And
Okay,
it's just all moving in like fine alloys and metals.
perfect.
So like Charlie throws that in the bag. There's like some blank books for future ledgers and other kind of knickknacks that he's just kind of scooping off the table.
Delaney's actually standing in front of him, kind of like pulling his coat out, like he's actually looking for something. But he's done this before, so he's actually standing in front of him, acting nonchalant.
Like this bag that I was carrying is like bulging with like this book and the other odd things that I've stuffed in here now, and like makes an audible noise as I throw it back over my shoulder. Very well. Busy. Must be going.
So again, she goes back into the cage, indicates for you guys to go into the cage. Once everyone is in and the door is closed, Nicola, she points to the little panel where the key would fit, and she nods to you.
Thank you.
Before we leave, Nicola, is there anything here? He kind of turns back to Miss Fleshley that her father used in aiding his search of this mythical place. Any tools or devices or maps or anything of that sort?
He used the book. There was a map, but I'm afraid it is no longer here. It has been stolen. Some years ago when he had me try to get more information on it, and I'm afraid to say it was stolen in that process.
You know by whom? Did you see who took it?
I only caught a quick glance. I don't even know if it really was. I just know that one moment I had it and the next it was gone.
A glance, but male, female?
She roughly describes somebody that that for all it's a pretty vague. It could describe anybody, but it kind of suits Argus.
Interesting. She kind of like smirks, but it's like there's no humor in it, and I think she would look at Captain Fisk. Well, thank you. I would really love those books, and then we should be going.
You have the key.
Cool. So I'm sure Lady Fleshley gives her just like this big pile of books on ancient civilizations and languages and
Yeah, she does. Once you get back up to the top, and she takes you back into her office, she's got a stack of books on one of the, like a chair there, with some scribbled notes, and she will hand you all of that, the books and the notes that she had made on them for you to peruse at your leisure.
All right.
Perfect. I think that is probably a great place to stop the session, and we can carry that on later. I guess our next session is in 3 weeks, I believe, in November. So looking forward to that. And again, thank you guys for an amazing session and asking all the hard questions and doing that. Without further ado, without further ado, I'm going to pass it back to the players to do any outros that they'd like to do. We'll start with Baron.
Hi everyone, I played Charlie. As I said in the beginning of the stream, my YouTube channel RWD Gaming will be returning October 30th with a Valandorn one-shot. Roughly, I think the time slated was 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Megan will be there, so we are going to get some spoopy Halloween themed adventures going, at least for the evening. So come hang out, and I will see you in 3 weeks as we go beat the shit out of Argus some more.
That sounds amazing. Both what you just said and the game that you're about to run. So that's awesome. Next we have Jeremy.
Yep. Hello, everybody. I am Jeremy. I've been playing Captain Fisk, Mr. Fisk, whatever you wish to call him. I love this game. This is always a fun group to play with, and again, playing a pirate is always difficult to go wrong with. Even whenever things are going wrong, it's usually when it gets fun. So thank you very much for running the game, Karen. Yeah, I can't wait until the next session to find out how much deeper this rabbit hole goes, because this is getting kind of crazy. And as long as I get to shoot people with a blunderbuss and stab people with my switchblade sword, I'm good.
I'm sure there'll be lots of that to come. And thank you. Next we have Dave.
Hey, I'm Dave. I played the foul-mouthed Delaney, the one who likes to just make situations uncomfortable when they don't need to be. I have a channel called Mornblade Gaming. I sorely need to add some content, but life is not allowing that right now. So at least I can still game with these buddies. So definitely check out their work. As if not playing with them is enough, they have excellently creative minds. So except for Baron, just kidding. All right. Till next time, folks. Thanks for running it, Karen.
Thank you, Dave. And for everybody who's got a channel, the descriptions for that will be the links for those will be in the descriptions below. We'll get it out. Yeah, I pulled a Jeremy. Last but not least, we have Megan.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan. I'm one half of Dice on Ice, and right now on the channel there is a bi-weekly strat game, which is super fun, super spoopy, and Karen is in it, so I'm very excited to do that. And yeah, I had a really good time. This is really, it's starting, the pieces are starting to come together, which is very cool. So I'm excited to see what comes next.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for watching, anyone who's watching now and will in the future. This has been Myth and Gears. And I don't know how to stop, but I will figure that out. There we go. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.